What is going on, guys? My name is Taylor Stuber, and I'm here to break down this 7-game preseason NBA slate on Draftkings.com. If you guys are new here or haven't done so already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And the number one way to support me is by liking this video, as well as commenting down below. Really helps out the algorithm, really helps me get my hard work out to more people, helps us grow this community we got going on. Yeah, comment any questions you have down below. I'll make sure to reply to every single one. If you have any questions on this slate, I'll make sure to reply. Or if you don't have a question, just reply, anything. Literally just the word anything works for me. Yeah, that is the best way to support me. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching this video. We've been having a pretty good time in preseason, but we have a 7-game slate today, and that is a lot to take care of. So we should just go ahead and get to that. But we will be live streaming 30 minutes before lock yet again tonight. We've been on an average of about 200 viewers in the live stream. I answer pretty much every single question thrown in there, so make sure to be there. And if you guys want to get my game notes, the full extent of what I'm thinking today, and then what I think the depth charts are going to be, injuries, and then the players I'm targeting in every single game, as well as my full FanDuel lineup, cheat sheets on DraftKings and FanDuel, and then my DraftKings player core, you can join my Patreon. That is linked down below in the description and in the pinned comment. $25 for the rest of the month, less than $1 a day. I think the game notes alone are worth it. Because they are updated throughout the day, and the number one way to be profitable in preseason NBA is having all of the news. And so once news breaks or we get a new quote from a coach, I make sure to add that to the game notes and update it all the way up until lock. But yeah, let's just jump right into this slate. Here's a little preview of all of the game notes you get, and I come out with these every single day. Yeah, a lot of game notes here. Just $25 for the rest of the month, and that bleeds into the regular season as well. So it's not just preseason when you purchase a package. But we will start with the Indiana Pacers versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. And yeah, this game is probably one of the most enticing, if not the most enticing game on the entire slate. We will start with the Pacers team. They are going to be without Karis LeVert, without TJ Warren. This team could look pretty different in the upcoming days if they do end up trading for Ben Simmons. I don't know how Sabonis, Ben Simmons, Miles Turner is going to work out on one team. I feel like they would have a bit of a spacing problem. They already have a spacing problem as it is with Sabonis and Turner out there. And then if they add Ben Simmons, I think that is quite the no-no. I don't understand how that's going to work, but I digress. Rick Carlisle last game said that they were going to play good minutes in their debut game in the preseason. We looked right through that because we saw in previous years with the Dallas Mavericks in their first preseason game with Rick Carlisle as head coach that they only play their guys in the first half, their starters that is. And then, but the quote was before last game was that they were going to play good minutes in their first game, and then in their second game on Friday, they're going to ramp up the minutes. So with that in mind, I fully expect them to play into the second half. So these guys are just way too cheap. I mean, I think Sabonis is, I think Sabonis is too cheap. He should be a bit more. He's one of my favorite plays of the slate. I mean, clearly he's the thumbnail of this video, but guys like Malcolm Brogdon, Jeremy Lamb, Miles Turner, they're going to play minutes like 25, 26 minutes, and maybe more with how the rotations work for Sabonis especially. I think he can get up to like 28, 29 minutes. And then the team that they're facing, they're playing their guys like 30, 35 minutes a game. So I absolutely love these Indiana Pacers guys today, mostly Brogdon and Sabonis, but Jeremy Lamb and Miles Turner as well are just way too cheap for guys that we know are going to play deep into the third quarter. They played like 18 first half minutes, 16 to 18 first half minutes. And now we're going to add another rotation to start the second half. I like that quite a bit. And then they get a good matchup against the Cleveland Cavaliers as well. And then the Cleveland team, yeah, this team is crazy. They ran a 10-man rotation last time out, which is funny because the first game they were talking about how they wanted to play 20 guys. They didn't quite get to 20 guys. But in the second game, they ran a strict 10-man rotation. The starter minutes, Isaac Okoro, 24. Jared Allen, 29. Evan Mobley, 33. Sexton, 33. Darius Garland, 36. And I think they're too cheap as well. If they're going to play the most minutes out of any team on the slate, and they are all sub 7K players, even if they are sub 1 fantasy point per minute players, if they're playing 30 plus minutes, they're still paying off these price tags easily. And so, in the first game of the day, like, I could see myself getting 3-4 players, and then just making my way throughout the rest of the slate. But I really like the security of minutes in this first game. Move on to the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Brooklyn Nets. So yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be without Giannis, Chris Middleton, Dante DiVincenzo, Bobby Portis, Rodney Hood, Semi Ojeleye. They are all out. Drew Holiday is doubtful. He missed game 1. He's probably going to miss this game again. And then Grayson Allen is now questionable. So it could be the same situation as last game, except we could be without Grayson Allen as well. If you're looking at ESPN or the stats on these other sites, they're going to be a bit wrong when it comes to the minutes, because that game did end up getting canceled right after the third quarter because of that whole fire alarm, fire sprinkler situation. And so, like, the minutes are just like all messed up. They're not correct at all. It says, I think it said Mamu played like 29 minutes. That wasn't the case, but he was on pace to absolutely smash in that game. Brook Lopez surprisingly started the second half, and I was not expecting that. He is a big-time veteran. I mean, he's been in the league forever. A key piece to this Milwaukee Bucks team. I don't necessarily think that he gets into the second half again, but even if he does, it looked like Mamu was the direct backup. Sandro Mamu, I'm going to call him Mamu just because I don't want to butcher his name, 5,900. He was one of my favorite GPP plays last slate. He's going to be one of my favorite GPP plays again, and he's going to be very under-owned because he is 5,900. But he is like an incredible per-minute producer. He's going to play the backup 5 to Brook Lopez, and then it looked like he was going to close the game out in the fourth quarter before that game ended up getting canceled. He was on pace for like 30-plus fantasy points. Like, I would not be surprised if he got to 40 in that last game. And then Jordan Nwora at 6,300 should grab this start again, and especially if Grayson Allen is out, should receive more ball handling duties. His usage rate should go up. He did get a price increase because he was 4,100 last time. Now he's 6,300. But I still think that if Drew Holiday is out, Grayson Allen is out, Jordan Nwora is worth every bit of that price tag, because he's probably going to play mid-20s minutes yet again. And then Thanasis Antetokounmpo at $5,000 let us down last time. He could have salvaged easily in the fourth quarter if that game didn't get canceled. He was minimum price. They brought his price up to $5,000, but I still think that he is like a secondary play, definitely viable on the slate. Move over to the Brooklyn Nets team. Yeah, I really have no idea what's going to go on with this team. They did just trade for Edmund Sumner. He's obviously out for the year. And then Kyrie Irving, he's yet to be vaccinated, so he cannot play in Brooklyn. And, just from a pure basketball standpoint, I really don't think Kyrie Irving's going to fold or get vaccinated. I think that they might just not even play him this year. He definitely can't play at home because of the law in New York, but yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. And then Kevin Durant, James Harden, they are questionable due to rest. Kevin Durant, James Harden, Joe Harris, Blake Griffin, Patty Mills, James Johnson, all missed their first game due to rest. I'm unsure what the status of these players are going to be as of right now. But this game starts 30 minutes after lock, so I'm sure we're going to receive news before lock. Make sure to be in the live stream or join the Patreon Discord. The Discord's completely free if you guys want to join that. Link is down below. We'll drop that news in there once we get word. But if those guys are playing, I think they're decent plays. It's hard for me to imagine them playing into the second half. But if they all miss again, guys like Bruce Brown, Cam Thomas, Nicholas Claxton. Claxton's like minimum price. If those guys all miss again, I like those young guys that I just mentioned. Move to the New Orleans Pelicans versus the Chicago Bulls. The Pelicans are going to be without Zion Williamson, Jackson Hayes, Brandon Ingram, and Devontae Graham are questionable. I'm led to believe that those guys are going to sit again. No point of playing those guys, really. They just traded for Graham. Brandon Ingram, they just signed to a contract recently. So that's going to leave a ton of that usage to guys like Jonas Valanciunas, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Alexander-Walker has played 21 and 25 minutes. He got the start last game for Brandon Ingram, and if Ingram and now Devontae Graham as well misses this game, Nickeil should have the ball in his hand pretty much at all times while he's out there on the court. Going to play into the third quarter, mid-20s minutes. Absolutely love him at 6,700. If he was in that 8K price range, I would still consider playing him. And then Jonas Valencia is probably the second highest per minute producer on this team. He ended up playing into the third quarter, 20 minutes, but he did get ejected in the third quarter, which was funny to see. Trey Murphy has played 30 and 29 minutes, shot 16 and 13 times in those games. They brought his price up to 5,600. He's pretty shooting dependent, but if he's going to continue to play around 30 minutes, it's hard to ignore that. But if his shot is not falling, he is going to fall flat on his face at this price. He's not as cheap as he was in these previous games, but he's still worth considering. But I could definitely see him being a bit over-owned. Over to the Chicago Bulls. Also, Devontae Graham, if he is ruled out, Kyra Lewis was the direct backup for him, and I would expect Kyra Lewis to start in the case that Devontae Graham misses that game. Move over to the Chicago Bulls. So they're going to be without Patrick Williams, Kobe White, Marko Simonovic, Derek Jones Jr., Tony Bradley. They were all out last game. They are questionable as of right now. Billy Donovan, their head coach, mentioned before last game that they are only playing 4 preseason games, so they are going to use that time to get their starters acclimated to the regular season, and that showed to be true in the first game with their starters and key backup Alex Caruso getting significant minutes. Caruso played 20 minutes, Levine 24, Vucevic 24, DeRozan 25, Lonzo Ball 26. Now, a lot of these teams are going to play their players and starters into the third quarter. So it's not really worth it to pay up for these guys like Levine, Vucevic, Lonzo Ball. Like, we know they're going to have that security, but we're going to get teams who have security in minutes for a much lesser price, although they are viable on the slate just because we know for a fact that they're playing that much. But the guy I'm actually most interested in is probably Alex Caruso at 5,300. He was one of my favorite GPP plays in the first slate. He ended up getting a 10-point, 10-assist double-double in that game in just 20 minutes. He completely runs that second unit, especially with Kobe White out. It looks like he's going to be a high fantasy point producer when he's out there on the court, and I expect him to play 20 to 22, 24 minutes in this game. 5,300, very affordable. Probably my favorite play on this slate, or on this Chicago team. But if Simonovic and Tony Bradley are out again, it looks like Elias Johnson is going to be the biggest beneficiary to those guys being out as the main backup big. Super high per minute producer, $5,100, going to be overlooked. He had a big game 1 as well. Moving to the Miami Heat versus the San Antonio Spurs. So Victor Oladipo, Udonis Haslem, Caleb Martin, Marcus Garrett, Gabe Vincent are already ruled out. This is the second leg of a back-to-back. Spoelstra has been known to really not push his guys in the preseason. And Jimmy Butler, he missed last game, or he missed their first game. He played yesterday, and with this being the second leg of a back-to-back, I would not be the slightest bit surprised if he rested in this game, or Bam Adebayo, or Kyle Lowry. I could definitely see all three of those guys resting because none of them have played into the second half at all. And it's been guys like Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, who have played in the first half and then have been extended deep into the third quarter. And these are the guys that you want to target on this Miami Heat team. It's Tyler Lowry and Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson, he is very shooting dependent, but he is down to 4,300. If he's going to continue to play mid-20s minutes, especially if Butler, Adebayo, and Lowry are out in this game, I'm going to have a good bit of exposure to Duncan Robinson. But Tyler Hero would be an absolute smash play if all of those guys were to miss. Max Struss as well would be a pretty decent play if those guys all miss. But, that's just speculative. That's speculation on my part. Moving to the San Antonio Spurs, Zach Collins is out. Trey Jones is doubtful. He missed last game. And Keita Bates Diop is questionable. So Greg Popovich already mentioned that moving forward before last game that they want to rest one or two of their key guys every single night. Last game, it was DeJounte Murray, so I'm fully expect him to play in this game. And if I were to guess who was going to rest in this game, it would be probably Derek White. And if not him, maybe a guy like Jakob Poeltl, who they already know what they have in. And if Derek White sits, yeah, DeJounte Murray becomes one of the best plays on the slate at $6,000. We know that the Spurs are going to play their guys into the third quarter, and without Derek White on the court, Murray is going to be like the main ball handler. And, you know, they played their guys deep into the third quarter last game. If you want to look at the minutes of this last game without DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker played 27 minutes, Keldon Johnson 27, Derek White 26, McDermott 24, Vassell 23, and Bryn Forbes 19. And look at the prices on all of these guys. Even if you don't want to play DeJounte Murray, Keldon Johnson 5,300, Lonnie Walker 49, Vassell 4,400. I think these guys are going to be very, very overlooked. And I think they're set to play pretty big minutes against a potential weak Miami Heat team without their starters, potentially. And if Jakob Poeltl does miss this game, I'll be pretty much all in on Drew Eubanks. He'll probably grab the spot start for them, play mid-20s minutes, and he has been a very, very high per minute producer over the course of his career and in these preseason games. Moving to the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Dallas Mavericks. Clippers are without Kawhi Leonard, Serge Ibaka, Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum, Jason Preston, Zubac, and Justice Winslow are questionable. I don't think Zubac plays in this game, and without Marcus Morris on this team, they're going to be unable to play small ball like they would like to. And so that would leave a lot of minutes through the first three quarters for guys like Harry Giles and Isaiah Hartenstein. I think they would split all of these center minutes through the first three quarters before conceding playing time to Moses Wright in the fourth quarter. So if we see that Zubac is out, Hartenstein and Harry Giles, which we know that they are really high per minute producers, they would be two of my favorite plays on the slate. But we know that Tyronn Lue does not really like playing his starters and key players really all that deep into these games. You know, the starters have not been playing into the second half at all. Namely, guys like Paul George, Bledsoe, Reggie Jackson. They're really only playing one stint, maybe two stints in these games. So going to be focusing on Giles and Hartenstein if Zubac is in fact ruled out. All right, the Dallas Mavericks. So Maxi Kleber, Tyrell Terry, Reggie Bullock are all out. Jason Kidd said Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis will again play only in the first half Friday against the Clippers. Maxi Kleber and Reggie Bullock will sit this one out. And then Jalen Brunson is the emergency player if Kidd runs short on bodies for any reason. So he's not on the injury report, but it looks like Jalen Brunson is not going to play in this game. And then also not on the injury report is Trey Burke. He is unvaccinated, and the Dallas Mavericks want to have a 100% vaccination rate, and he has not been playing, and I think it's due to him not being vaccinated. So if they're going to be without Trey Burke, without Jalen Brunson, without Reggie Bullock, Tyrell Terry, and then Luka Doncic is only playing in the first half, that is going to open up a ton of point guard minutes. And that's going to be guys like Ja'Cory McLaughlin and Carlik Jones, who dominated the second half, specifically the fourth quarter of that game. And that was with Jalen Brunson playing and Reggie Bullock and Tyrell Terry. So if all those guys are out, like we believe so, McLaughlin and Carlik Jones at $4,200 and $4,000 are some of the best value plays on the entire slate, and I just do not think people are going to be digging down here. If you guys played Summer League, you know McLaughlin can get it going. Same with Carlik Jones, both very, very active players when they're out there. They dominate ball handling duties and usage when they're out there on the court, and they might get in the first half, but in the second half, definitely they will be playing a ton in the second half. And then Luka Doncic, just to go over, I mean, he got it done in one half last time. Don't know if I would expect that again. I mean, at $8,800, like if you're playing FanDuel, you definitely play him. But there's a lot of teams that are going to be playing, 10, 15 more minutes than Luka. Luka only played 16 minutes last game. I mean, he shot 8 for 10, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Very good game for him. But, we could see a situation like Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid did get into the second half like we expected after we got late news. But he kind of fell short. He didn't really produce at the rate that we thought he would. If you look back at Joel Embiid's stats last year without Ben Simmons, he was averaging over 1.8 fantasy points per minute, and he only averaged like 1 point per minute in his game. If Luka does not play to his standards, he's not going to have much time to recover. So you're going to have to expect him to do it. I mean, he could definitely do it. Obviously, he scored nearly 40 fantasy points last time out, but that's my take on Luka Doncic. I think he's fine to play, but I think there's safer routes to go to today. Move over to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yeah, I don't expect them to play their starters all that much. They only played in the first half. They only played about 20 minutes last game. I think we see a similar situation, so I'm not really interested in any of these guys. Patrick Beverley's out. Nathan Knight is questionable. If Knight misses, and Towns only plays about 20 minutes, I think Naz Reid is a decent play at 4,500. Good per minute producer, and should play around 18-20 minutes if Naz Reid is out. On the other side, we get the Denver Nuggets. They're going to be without Jamal Murray. Michael Porter Jr., Will Barton are questionable. I'm led to believe that these guys are both going to sit again. And so that is going to open up a lot for Aaron Gordon specifically, and then Nikola Jokic at 9,200. This last game Michael Malone likes to play his starters into the third quarter, but last game was Jokic kind of coming off a layoff. He wasn't with the team until the day before. I thought he would play into the second half. He ended up not, but that didn't matter. He scored 39 fantasy points in the first half alone. And that was the first time in his career that he has started a preseason game and did not play into the third quarter. So I think that I pretty confidently believe that he's going to play into the third quarter in this game. And he's my favorite spend up option on this slate. Him and probably Sabonis. And I think he's going to be a super high per minute producer, especially without Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, Will Barton. It's just going to be him and Aaron Gordon. And then Bones Highland, they did give him a price increase at 5,700. He's played big minutes recently. They've been ramping him up. They have given him a ton of praise, and it looks like he's knocking on the door of taking minutes away from guys like Monte Morris, like Facundo Campazzo. So I think they're going to continue to give him more and more looks in this preseason. Moving to the last game of the slate, which we really just have no idea what's going on with this Lakers team. Trevor Ariza's out. Westbrook, LeBron James, Dwight Howard. Westbrook and LeBron specifically haven't played in the first 2 preseason games. Dwight Howard rested last game as well. Vogel did say before the season that they wanted to get their guys, their star players, like 2 games. So we could see that them rest them yet again in this game. And if that is the case, Talen Horton-Tucker, Malik Monk, and Kendrick Nunn are the best value plays on the slate. They are way too cheap if Westbrook and James miss again. Unfortunately, this game starts 3 hours after lock, so we might not even know. Now, we have been getting word of Westbrook and James resting earlier in the day, so I think that we will get news beforehand, so we will know if these guys are going to be viable or not. But Anthony Davis, I think there's a chance that Westbrook and James play and then Anthony Davis rest, because Davis has played both those games, and he played into the third quarter, played 25 minutes in the second game. And if he's going to start without Westbrook and James again, and he plays into the third quarter, 7,900 for Anthony Davis is one of the best plays on the entire slate. So we really just need to wait for news and to see what we want to do, because it's all determined on who's in and who's out on who we want to play in this game. If everybody's healthy, I'm probably not interested in anyone, because even if Westbrook and James play, I do not believe that they play into the second half. I'd be very surprised. But yeah, move over to the Golden State Warriors, another team. I really have no idea what's going to happen, because Steve Kerr kind of pulled a quick one on us last game. Klay Thompson, James Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, Gary Payton II are out. Andrew Wiggins, Andre Iguodala are questionable. Again, I'm under the impression that Wiggins is going to sit in this game. So I think Jordan Poole is going to be the biggest beneficiary to this. And Jordan Poole has been acting as the second offensive option, even with Wiggins out there, second to Steph Curry. And he's been playing big minutes. If he's going to continue to play mid-20s minutes and Wiggins misses this game altogether, 6,400 for Jordan Poole is a very, very good play. Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, neither of those guys have played into the second half. Steph Curry in the first game played 22 minutes, played into the third quarter. Last game, he did not. If we look at previous years, Steve Kerr has been completely fine with playing Steph Curry nearly 30 minutes in these preseason games into the third quarter. So maybe since they only gave him a certain amount of minutes the first game, that they will play him deeper into the third quarter this game, and they kind of use that as a rest day instead of completely resting him and sitting him out. So it becomes a GPP play for me with Steph Curry. It is a bit scary playing him when I know so many of these other spots I'm going to have the security in minutes. I really have no idea what's going to happen with Steph Curry and the rest of these Warriors, but I appreciate you guys being here. Hope you guys do well tonight. Make sure to be in the live stream 30 minutes before lock. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, do all that. That is the #1 way to support me. But yeah, I hope you guys do well tonight. And until next time, peace.